Today I'm gonna focus on two cameras from Leica and the M series, the M1 and the MDA. So what I find interesting with those two cameras are the fact that they don't have a rangefinder. And the M was supposed to mean, I believe, Messsucher in German, which was basically a combined range and viewfinder. Because before you had the 3 series, so for example here you have a 3G, you had a separate view for both the rangefinder to define the distance, the coupled rangefinder, and the framing. So the M series with the M3 started combining those two through their now really well-known rangefinder system. And so M3 was, I believe, the 3 was meaning that there's 3 framings inside to guide you with your lenses. Here on the M1, there's 2, so the logic is maybe not very well maintained. 35 and 50 millimeter, it's a parallax-corrected viewfinder, but you won't have any indications of distance. So using a lens like this one for example, street photography or whatever, which is not too open, will give you a relatively good focus if you follow the distance indications. But the M1 was built from 1959. There were something like around 9,500 models produced. Single stroke rewind mechanism. Really looks like the M's. More like the M2 than the M3. You can see here, for example, the film shot numbering indicator here, which is outside, not like in the M3, more like the M2. But yeah, very interesting construction. The classic. And here, if you open it up, you have basically a space for your film canister, and you put your film here and you rewind it. That's the old system, which was changed from M4 and after. That's not the quick load mechanism, but yeah. So interesting camera. You can find them. They're starting to be quite rare, but you can find them online at relatively interesting price still, if I know how to close it correctly. Here. So that was the M1. The MDA on the other side is based on the M4 construction, so more recent. Came out from 1966 to 1976. Here I adapted a lomography lens on it. It's also a single stroke, based, as I said, on the M4 mechanism. Not much difference from the outside, but here you actually have no viewfinder at all. So it's a really cool camera if you want to add, for example, an external viewfinder. Here I found this one, which is kind of interesting if I put it the right way. That's a robot viewfinder, which you can put, well, whatever you want depending on the lens you have. And you can adapt also other stuff. We'll see that a little bit later. But yeah, the MDA was meant for lab work, technical work. It has a quick loading mechanism as on the M4 here, where you basically put the film in, and then you have this sort of spindle, which is really fast, really nice way to wind the film inside your camera. And here it is. That's the MDA. So not much difference from obviously the viewfinder, but both those cameras are kind of interesting in their own. If I put it the wrong way, it won't work. They're both kind of interesting alternatives if you don't care about the rangefinder. Work differently, and yeah, as I was saying, also because the MDA was a technical camera, you can find bottom plates with this technical slot, which enabled you to put this thing in and note something on this small plastic piece, and it would come inside and stay on front of the film, and you could have an annotation on your shot. So that's some of the plates you can find sometimes. But otherwise, yeah, two interesting cameras. Again, well built, very similar, even so they're not from the same period. Very similar in design and size. The plates are actually interchangeable in both. Really a standard between those cameras, between the M3, 2, 1, and M4. The M5 had some other history. We'll talk about it in another video, but really two nice cameras to use. I've shot with both of them. They work great, and yeah, let's maybe check this MDA with the adapter to transform it into a reflex, and then we're gone. Okay, so here's MDA. I adapted with the Telit adapter that Leica offered at the time. There were different versions, but that basically enables the creation of a kind of a reflex camera. Actually, it's a reflex camera. You have the mirror inside this adapter, and with compatible lenses, you can actually have a reflex using those non-rangefinder cameras. That's a pretty extreme example with the winder below, but yeah, that's what you can do with this kind of body I'm using.